Hello and welcome to Jazz After Dark. Guys, how we doing today? This evening, I should say. It's always evening here when we do these. Usually very late. What time is it? 11:42. I would like to welcome you. We like to make these classes a little more laid back. They're not as fast as some of our other videos. They're a little more to the point, and I like to think a little bit deeper than just the basic finances out there. You got to be careful. I'll tell you what. Tomorrow on our podcast with me and Eric, we're going to cover how you got to be careful with some of this social media stuff you see, right, from people, because the IRS is watching. And the IRS just came out with a really cool, well, it's not cool, but they just came out with, hey, we see what you all are doing with this thing on social media. It's attracted a lot of views. We're just going to go start picking on people and make sure they're doing it right there when they file their taxes. So we're going to cover that and show how we can get around all of that on our podcast. You want to check that out. Tonight, we're going to talk a little bit deeper about 4 ways to pay for college, get some dollars for college rather than the 529. And it's brought to you tonight by Stranahan's Original Colorado Single Malt Whiskey. It's I enjoy it. I thought it was really good. Had some friends over in a couple days. I do have friends. Had some friends over. They all thought it was good too. It's, I think, a middle of the line. Maybe, I don't know what it, price-wise, what it compares to. It's kind of a middle of the line thing there. I thought it was good. I hadn't bought my own bottle in a while, so I thought I'd do it. All right, let's get started. One of the most common ones. This is not going to be my suggestion, but here's a common one that your state more than likely offers. They call it prepaid college tuition. And usually what happens is when you go to the college, your state's college board there that has all the options, they'll have 529 and prepaid. And they really push the 529. Well, they used to push the 529 a lot. You'll notice now that prepaid is starting to get up there towards the top. They want you to lock in today's dollars for college and, pay today what it, maybe it's going to cost more in the future. And they scare you with the rapidly rising college costs. That's really not something. We have the data on it. That's not like, it's not a talking point. It's not an opinion. College prices don't really go up that fast. In state, you're a resident, state level college. I'm not talking Ivy League and all of that. I'm talking about just regular undergraduate state college tuitions. One of the ways we can show you that is it's in the Consumer Price Index. So, when they say the inflation number's coming out, and we all get worked up over it, that's the Consumer Price Index, or called CPI. There's 2 of them, actually. There's CPI, and then the Fed uses core CPI so they can take out like oil and stuff that's rather volatile, especially lately. So in the CPI numbers is college tuition prices, right? And it's a monthly report. It's not like it comes out once a year or something. So let's take a look. Well, the first thing I did is I said, I want all the data. Give me everything back to as far as we used to get this data. And, oh, look at that, new screen. And here's what we have here. God, I hope you can see it. Since the mid-70s, we have a rise of 1,500% in college tuitions. The annualized increase in college prices is 6.28%. That's a lot. That sounds like a lot. But remember, we're covering more than a generation here. What's interesting is I initially thought when I plotted this, oh, look at right here. It's increasing faster since the early 2000s. We had a good thing going here for a while, increase-wise, but it seems to be increasing faster. So, let's go a little bit further here. If we take what would be an 18-year period, presumably you had a child 18 years ago and you're saving for college, you're trying to decide between prepaid or 529, whatever, if that was a thing. And what you find is you got a 91% increase in college, but the annualized increase is just above inflation, or just above the historic inflation rate during the same time period. So why would you prepay for college if it's going up 3.71%? Okay, wait a minute. This might be the Stranahan's talking. Let's break this down a little bit more. If you had half of the entire college tuition ready to go on day one of your child's birth and you said, that's it, I want to choose this plan, then, okay, that's one thing. If you had 60%, 70%, 80%, or you were lucky and you just had the cash available to pay today's college tuition rates, why would you do that? Your child would be more benefited, I guess. It would be more beneficial to do the 529. Why is that? Well, because this is not my opinion. This is the data. College prices have gone up faster over the last 20 years, and that's still an annualized increase of 3.71%. Okay. There are now bonds, short-term notes, money market accounts that pay 5% or more with no risk at all. So you would say, well, I'd be better off letting the money grow. Maybe the child doesn't use all the money, but yay, they had more money. I want more dollars. If that's what I want, I'll go with that one. Now, prepaid plans, you can prepay the whole thing if you want, but why? That means you're getting essentially a 3.71% return on your money yearly, right? You could do better. We know you could do better. There's many ways to do better. By taking no risk in a money market fund now or a CD, I don't know why you do a CD. Bonds, short-term treasuries, things like that. Okay, you could do better. It hasn't always been that way, but if you annualize that, yes, you could do better. You could take risk with it and go into something that's maybe a semi-growth portfolio, ETF stock that maybe has a yield of 3% or 2%, and you get the rest in growth. You know what I mean? As you work your way up the risk ladder, there's choices. So number one, prepaid accounts are not ideal for those of you that already have a good lump sum to put towards the college costs. And it's because you likely end up with more dollars by just going the route of the 529. Not to mention, the tax benefits of the 529, just spitballing here. All right, number two, that was a long one. The rest will not be as long. Number two is, and this is the one I like the most, it's a custodial account. It's not the most fancy, it's not the most geeky strategery thing we can. Number three will be that one, so hold tight with me here. But a custodial account, I like it the most. It's not as beneficial as the 529, right? Because you get the tax benefits and usually state tax benefits for using a 529. But people tend to choose it because they're like, I don't want to choose one of these 5 or 10 funds. I want to invest in other stuff. I want stocks. I want ETFs, whatever. You're not limited in a custodial account. What I like it for myself is you now have the chance, that's a child's account, that's in their name, that's their money. You have the chance to teach them about investing. Pick your age, not like when they're a newborn, but you know what I mean? Like over time, you can really slowly teach them about investing. And I like that. The second thing I like is it doesn't have to be for college. So if we prepay for college, kind of has to be for college. If we use a 529, it kind of has to be for college or room and board and books and all that stuff. So that one's a tough one there. You can go a little bit further with it. This doesn't apply to everybody, but there are 2 formulas that the government or the FAFSA uses when determining your expected contribution rate. What I forget, ERC or ECR. So the first formula is, your eyes gloss over it, you'll fall asleep. If you can't fall asleep, read the formula for how they calculate this out like a light, right? But so there's that one. If you happen to be maybe what they call dislocated as an employee, and your income is lower, then you're allowed to use the simplified formula. My God. If your child's an independent for whatever reason when they go to college, a late bloomer that goes to college, took a gap year or something, you can use a simplified formula. And in that case, assets don't actually count towards the contribution for the student. They could potentially not count as for you either, whether the child has the assets or not. So there's some games to play there, but I like that there's at least options, whereas a 529 is like, okay, get my little tax break. It's what it is. All right, number 3. It gets a little bit geekier here. So this would be that extra level. It's not going to apply to everybody, but it gets you thinking. And I bet you it gets you doing some Googling here of things that you just don't see on social media. You can gift money to your child. Really anybody, but you could gift money to your child. It is $17,000 here in 2023. And so, or $34,000 if you're married. Each spouse can give $17,000. You can also do something that's called a crummy trust. And it's just named after the guy. It's not a joke. It's named after the guy that came up with it. I forget what he did, but he was rich and he was had a great legal background. So it's called a crummy trust there. And the reason people do the crummy trust, if you want to look it up, is because if you gift money to your child today, the IRS has, and they put this in quotes because the IRS has a specific test for this. The person that you gift the money to has to have a present interest. Okay. Again, I told you, this is not stuff you see on social media. We're getting into the woods here a little bit, but they don't tell you that. You watch these videos and they're like, did you know you can gift your child $17,000 a year? And, whatever, the camera's going in and out and there's text on the screen and my old eyes can't follow it. It bothers me. Well, yeah, it's true, but they have to have a present interest, meaning inside of that year that you gave them the money, they were supposed to have a need for it. You just don't gift money people and then they put it in their savings account, right? They're supposed to use it. And if they use it, then there might be some sales tax. There might be some sort of luxury tax. Who knows what it is? They might generate tax off of that. And, that's a good thing. So a crummy trust gets around the present interest rule. It allows you to put money or gift money to the child, right? But then as the child needs it, they can use it. They don't have to have that present need there. So it's a way to do that and sort of limit or protect that money in the meantime if you have those types of concerns in your life. And you can still gift up to the limit. So this year you could do 17,000, and I don't think it goes up next year, but if it did, you could go up to the limit there. Side note, if you're of wealth or feel so charitably inclined, but you still want to pay for college, or maybe your child has some health issues, but is able to go to college and wants to, not disabled, but you know what I mean? Something like that. You can do what's called, didn't know that. Clean this room. Where was I going with that? Oh, you could do something called a health and education trust. If you look it up, just type HEAT. And it's not a rap word, just HEET. And it's an idea if you're someone that's like, I'm older, I got money, I want to pay for my kids to go to, my kids' kids to go to college and maybe generations and generations, or I want to pay some healthcare costs. I want this to all be inside of a trust there. And because this is the catch, I would like to take some money out yearly, 4, 5, 6% is the safe one. They don't tell you exactly how much, but take 4, 5, or 6% out. And I'd like to give that to charity. So I want to accomplish numerous things here over generations. When people say generational wealth, these are those things you go look into. So when someone says set up a trust, it sounds cool, right? You're like, oh, I'm going to get one over on somebody. Oh, okay. What type of trust? Well, you'll usually see revocable, irrevocable, sometimes charitable trusts. But there's all kinds of trusts. It depends on what you're trying to accomplish. There's CRUTs, CLATs, GEATs, right? Those are all different types of trusts without boring you to death. Okay, so that wasn't number 4. Number 4 is really what I see clients doing. So these are not my strategies. I just think it's cool to hear what clients do. A lot of times clients will say, I'm saving for college and I don't quite have enough money. So here's how we're going to go about this. From birth or somewhere near that to 21 years of age, I'm going to use that time period to save. The child will go to school and we will help them with scholarships. We will hope that they get some kind of financial aid, grants, small loans if need be. And so then when they're done with school, I've got that extra 4 years for something good to happen, or 21 years, presumably, or 22 in total for that money to grow. What we'll do is then we'll get that money to them after that. Maybe if it's in a custodial account, we'll just say, well, now you're an adult. You can go withdraw it, pay off your loans, and use the money for whatever. If it's money that's been gifted over time in the form of a trust or what we've talked about before, they'll still say, I want to wait through the life of college. Maybe they only finish 2 years and they find like their dream path, and they go do that. So instead of just giving them money as they go, they do that. I have seen clients do a match. So the way they do this, they say, well, when we get to that college time, say your senior year and you're starting to look into this stuff, for every dollar that you save me from having to pay for college, I'll match it. So essentially, you're just giving them the money, right? So if they, for example, take the time to write an essay and they win a simple $500 scholarship, I'll give you that $500. If you're eligible for some sort of advanced placement classes in high school, that was the most recent one, just came to mind. If you'll take those advanced placement classes and start knocking out those credits early, well, they're worth $200, $300, $400 a credit hour. And you have to have the money, of course, get your dough straight, but you can motivate your kids that way as well. So I wanted to point that out. It may not be that if they get financial aid of $15,000 a year that you're going to give them 15, but you could say like scholarships, advanced placement classes, doing extra things that get you that college money, presumably, or credits for college, internships and things. So those are the four things. A little bit of a lengthy one here today, but I wanted to cover some of the basic thoughts, different strategies you can use, and then get you thinking about some of the more deeper options that you have that would require more work, more homework, maybe more assistance. You want to work here with us at Jazz. I appreciate you giving us a shot. If you do, we're a small financial advisor. We just like teaching clients. That's kind of our thing. And you'll never see us in a suit and tie. We're just normal people speaking the normal language there. I'll wrap it up. But hey, tomorrow on our podcast, I do think you'll want to check that out because there are some IRS changes that are coming, or I should say focuses that are coming from the IRS because of what everybody's posting online. That's not entirely accurate. So we'll get to the bottom of it and give you the straight and narrow of how to get that done. All right, I'm going to wrap it up there. You enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks for hanging with me here tonight. And we'll keep plugging on, doing what we do. Maybe a subscribe if you haven't hit the subscribe button. That makes us look bigger and better. I don't know.